You are 6 years old. Rome, 94 BC. The house smells like old marble and older debt. Your family name is ancient, Julius Caesar. It opens doors the way a drawn sword parts a crowd, but there is no gold left behind those doors. The name is the inheritance. The debt is real. Your family lives crammed into the Subura, the wrong side of the city, loud, overcrowded, knife-sharp after dark. From the upstairs window, you watch senators pass in their litters, white togas, soft hands, rings on every finger. You memorize every face. You are 6 years old, and you already understand one thing with absolute clarity. A name without power is nothing more than noise. You are 1882 BC. Sulla has seized Rome, and he is writing lists, names on parchment that become death warrants by morning. Your family backed the wrong side of his war, and Sulla remembers everything. His men strip your priesthood. They confiscate your wife, Cornelia's dowry. They want every stone attached to your name. You slip out of the city before soldiers reach your door and run north through frozen fields. You sleep in barns. You bribe checkpoint guards. You hide under false papers and wait for the world to forget you. But it never does. Rome is a machine that only respects the people who know how to turn fear into leverage. When you finally return, you return changed. You are no longer the boy from the Subura. You understand that in Rome, money is not just money, land is not just land, and family names are not just family names. They are weapons. They buy loyalty. They buy silence. And delay is often the only reason a defeated man gets to become a dangerous one. That lesson will follow you for the rest of your life, because Rome is a city where every victory is temporary unless you can make it permanent through power. The next stage begins with ambition, and ambition in Rome is never polite. You move through the ranks with a kind of patience that looks almost like discipline from the outside. You know how to speak in public, how to flatter the right men, how to promise exactly enough and never quite too much. You understand that crowds are not impressed by honesty. They are impressed by certainty. So you build certainty around your own name. You make people believe that Julius Caesar is not just a senator or a nobleman, but a future. And, in a republic full of men who think themselves eternal, that kind of confidence is practically a threat. You study war the same way other men study law. Not as an abstract idea, but as a system. Every army runs on food, roads, timing, and morale. Every empire is a biological machine made of hungry human beings. If supplies fail, the army shrinks. If morale breaks, the army collapses. If communication fails, even the strongest state starts to fracture from the inside. Caesar seems to understand this instinctively. He does not just conquer territory, he conquers the logistics that keep territory alive. That is why his campaigns feel less like battles and more like controlled experiments in pressure, movement, and endurance. A province on the edge of Rome becomes the edge of the world. You are beyond the Alps now, beyond the old comfort of the city, beyond the circle where everyone already knows your name. This is where the name becomes something else. It is no longer just social capital. It becomes a command. Legions march because you say so. Cities negotiate because they fear what happens if they do not. Entire tribes move like weather systems across the map, and every river, forest, and mountain begins to matter. You are no longer merely surviving the Roman game. You are redesigning it. The campaign is not clean. It is not romantic. It is cold, hungry, and brutal. Roads are built for movement, and movement is built for war. Camps rise overnight like temporary cities, then vanish the next morning. Soldiers dig, march, bleed, eat, and wait. Victory is not one moment. It is thousands of small decisions that add up to dominance. And the strange part is that the deeper Caesar goes into war, the more he begins to resemble the thing he is supposedly fighting against, the unstoppable force of the state itself. He becomes the republic in motion, and everyone around him slowly realizes it. Then the numbers change. Once you command enough men, you stop being just a man with a title. You become a problem for everyone else. Rome tolerates strong figures only until they grow too strong to control. That is the hidden law of every republic under stress. It praises ambition in theory, then punishes it in practice. Caesar's rise exposes the contradiction. The same city that rewarded him for victories now starts to fear the scale of his success. The Senate is no longer managing a peer. It is trying to contain a system that has begun to outgrow it. This is where power turns from opportunity into gravity. Allies become temporary. Favors become debts. Every handshake has an expiration date. Men who once praised Caesar start asking whether he can be trusted, which in Roman politics usually means they are already planning for the day they might need to kill him. He knows this. He sees the shape of the trap before it closes. That is why he keeps moving. In Rome, stillness is surrender. Momentum is survival. And yet momentum has a cost. The more people depend on you, the less freedom you actually have. Caesar is winning, but winning means he must keep winning. He cannot step back, because the moment he stops, the machine around him starts asking what comes next. That is the trap of high status in a collapsing political world. Success increases the speed of danger. The higher you climb, the fewer mistakes you are allowed to make. By the time he stands at the center of Roman power, the city that once looked down on the boy from the Suburra is now staring at him with the same thing in its eyes that it once reserved for kings, conquerors, and threats. Not admiration, not trust, recognition. Rome recognizes a force when it sees one. It also knows what to do with one. The Republic can celebrate greatness only until greatness becomes irreversible. After that, the old system starts reaching for knives. Caesar's story is not just about one man becoming powerful. It is about how power behaves when it meets institutions that were never built to contain it. The answer is always the same. First comes respect, then fear, then plots. Then history tries to simplify everything into one clean ending. But the real story is messier. It is made of hunger, memory, debt, prestige, logistics, and a city that understood better than most that names can survive long after the men who carried them are gone. And that is why Caesar matters. He is not only a figure from ancient history, he is a case study in what happens when identity, ambition, and state power collide at full speed. He shows how a person can turn humiliation into leverage, leverage into authority, and authority into a force that reshapes an entire civilization. In the end, Rome did not just produce Julius Caesar. Rome taught him exactly what kind of world he was living in.